In November, Zohran Mamdani won a historic victory to become the next mayor of New York City.
We are breathing in the air of a city that has been reborn.
He's not only the city's first Muslim mayor, and also the youngest mayor in over 100 years, he's also the first candidate since 1969 to get more than 1 million votes in a New York City mayoral election.
All of that adds up to high pressure and high expectations as the three-term state lawmaker settles into his new office here at City Hall. Mamdani has a mandate from the city's voters to aggressively use the power of the mayor's office to pursue his ambitious agenda. So, what does he need to do? In short, he needs to deliver.
And in rally after rally, the new mayor pitched 3 things above all else. He would freeze the rent for 2 million tenants in rent-stabilized apartments, he'd make buses fast and free, and he'd deliver universal childcare for kids aged 6 weeks to 5 years old.
Freezing the rent for millions of rent-stabilized tenants might be the most doable thing on the list. In New York City, the maximum possible rent increase for rent-stabilized units like the ones behind me are determined annually by the Rent Guidelines Board, members of which are appointed by the mayor.
Though Eric Adams may appoint last-minute members of the board in an attempt to delay a rent freeze in Mamdani's first year, the new mayor will eventually be able to appoint a majority of the board. And from there, barring any potential legal battles, he'll be able to deliver the rent freeze he campaigned on.
Universal childcare could be a little bit trickier. For one thing, it's the most costly of Mamdani's ideas, likely requiring about $6 billion annually.
So he'll need the state legislature and Governor Kathy Hochul's help to pay for it.
Mamdani's proposed a new top corporate tax rate, as well as a new top income tax rate on the wealthiest New Yorkers to pay for it.
But while Hochul has said she supports the concept of universal childcare, she hasn't explicitly said that it should be free, and she has stated her opposition to a tax hike to pay for it. Mamdani has said himself that he's not set on a tax hike, but rather that he's determined to fund his ideas one way or another. Overhauling the city's bus system is another challenge.
Mamdani could make more bus lanes around the city and make it easier for buses to get around, but accounting for lost fare revenue could add up to anywhere from $600 million to up to $1 billion annually, depending on how many people end up taking the bus. That's going to require some buy-in from the state. The Metropolitan Transportation Authority is a state-run agency, after all, and the governor has said she's not willing to make the bus fare-free for everyone.
I cannot set forth a plan right now that takes money out of a system that relies on the fares of the buses and the subways. But can we find a path to make it more affordable for people who need help? Of course we can.
This dynamic comes up across Mamdani's agenda. Ambitious ideas that need the governor's signature to get done. The state would need to approve his proposed increase to a $30 citywide minimum wage, for example. Still, he could do other things on his own, including establishing 5 city-run grocery stores, which the Mamdani campaign estimated would cost $60 million. And the creation of the Department of Community Safety, while it would be more costly, also likely falls within the mayor's purview. Mamdani has something else on his side: popular support. Not only do polls show that New Yorkers view him positively, but by now, they're likely pretty familiar with his policy platform. Mamdani made policy, and more broadly, the promise of an affordable city, the centerpiece of his campaign. So his supporters are likely ready to apply pressure to the governor to get it done. Hochul, by the way, is up for re-election in a few months. And while she's way ahead of Republican Elise Stefanik, a Trump ally who doesn't stand much of a chance of winning statewide office in blue New York, Hochul could be vulnerable to a primary challenge from the left, if she's seen as blocking Mamdani's agenda. After all, just look at what happened a few days before Election Day, when Hochul appeared on stage at a Mamdani rally in Queens.
Then there's the X factor. Can Mamdani actually govern? New York City has a 12-figure budget, $120 billion a year, and a 300,000 person workforce. That's more than most cities in America have people in their population. So even if he has all the money in the world, Mamdani needs to execute on his ideas.
And it won't be any easier with Donald Trump breathing down the new mayor's neck, threatening to swarm the city with federal law enforcement and withhold money for things like infrastructure projects. Sure, the pair had a chummy meeting at the Oval Office in November, but no New Yorker, least of all the new mayor, would bet anything on Trump staying consistent.
So can the 34-year-old history-making socialist get his most ambitious ideas across the finish line? Millions of New Yorkers are waiting for an answer.